This is Katie with Coffee Talk, and we're going to have a nice break today. This is break time, so go ahead and get your favorite drink. If you're having a break with your children, have them bring their color books. I'm going to be finishing up hopefully finishing up a coloring page, and if you want them to, they can color or put a puzzle together or practice making their knots, anything like that. So let's have just a little break. Today, I thought that I would talk about wisdom that my grandma and my mom have given me. Things that not necessarily do I even follow, but I know is wisdom. So one of the things that my grandma always was just super passionate about is learning. She loved to learn, and she wanted to instill in everyone the importance of learning. So I remember as a very small child looking at books that she had that were educational books, National Geographic type books. She had an encyclopedia set that had really pretty pictures and stuff in it, interesting stuff, and she would make an effort to have me spend time looking at them when my mom went to her house to visit. I even have a picture of myself as a toddler with an encyclopedia. I've got it on the ground, and I think I just gotten up, and there's a picture of me and an encyclopedia and my grandma. I once told my mom that I really thought that I would never be, not even that. I asked her how she got to be so smart, because she knew stuff that I didn't know, and I felt like I was old enough to be wise and to know certain things. And so what I'm talking about is, like, for instance, my mom and my grandma knew things like when after you've had a real sickness in the family, like a COVID kind of a thing, they would put things out in the sun, and it would kill the bad germs. So for instance, my mom says she remembers grandma actually putting books and stuff down. When my mom was little, they had things like scarlet fever and smallpox. And my mom was one of 5 children, and 8 if you count, one of 8 children if you count foster kids. And so that kind of thing, they just knew. My grandma, she, after all the kids were grown and she was a grandma, she did a college entrance exam. She wanted to go to college, and I can't remember why she wanted to go to college. If she wanted to pursue a degree, or I can't remember. But she took a college entrance exam, and the entrance exam showed that her knowledge was second-year college. Isn't that just neat? So there's so much I feel like I kind of want to get out. That's just um, things that my mom and my grandma shared with me. Do you have anything like that that your parents or your grandparents shared with you that you thought, wow, you're so brilliant. I wish that I had known that, you know? Or I'm so glad you told me. Not everyone knows that. One of the things that my mom and my grandma taught me, and it was very important to both of them, was etiquette. And my mom told me that she didn't even teach me half of what she knew. So she was always, I felt like when I was, I'm sure this is unique, but I felt like when I was a kid that I seriously could be like a princess in royalty, because my mom just would teach me these etiquette things. And since then, of course, I've forgotten a lot, but she taught me all sorts of things from um, how to eat a formal dinner, how to have a formal tea, uh, to what to say, you know, like the please, thank yous, and excuse me's, right? And I remember talking to her about that and saying, you know, how do you know this stuff? And she just told me that she didn't teach we kids half of what she was taught. And she said she didn't think that it was really relevant in our family to go into everything in detail, so she just left it out. She also was super brilliant with canning and food preservation, which I think a lot of people have grandparents that are really good at that, and parents maybe that are really good at that. When I was a little girl, there was something going on in the US that was kind of like it is now. It was, people were getting laid off and money was scarce and prices were too high. And at that time, our family moved to the country, and it was just a small farm. They wanted to be prepared. Mom told me years and years later, they wanted to be prepared to do some sort of subsistence farming if they needed to. So, or subsistence farming. But anyway, I remember that the house came with a bunch of canned goods. And I remember her, I was really quite young, going through the cans and looking at them and deciding which ones, because they didn't have any dates on them, deciding which ones to keep and which ones not to. They were canning jars so you could see the food inside of them. And then I remember her opening up the jars and deciding from smell and look, or from smell and sight, what, if they should be kept or not. And of course now we're taught that, you know, just if it's food in the fridge 4 days or older, get rid of it. Just don't even, you know, don't risk it. But my mom actually knew by smell and by sight if things were bad or not. They knew a lot more about food than we do now. I also remember my mom telling me that eating food that is homemade and homegrown is the best. I always felt like I was really on the unfortunate side because I felt like it wasn't fair. I wanted to eat boxed cake like all the other kids at school. And my mom would make homemade from scratch cake for desserts. And she would also make other desserts. But I remember feeling like I was left out because we didn't buy box cake and box cake was better. I remember my mom telling me that making food from scratch was much better for us and that we should stay away from foods with lots of preservatives in them because a lot of the preservatives in there are not things that our body can deal with well. Isn't that just so smart? Anyway, I just wanted to share some things with you from my growing up. I think it's probably been a little bit of time since we started to take a break together, and I'm not done coloring, and it doesn't matter because I'll be with you next time and I will finish this coloring page, and I'm having a lot of fun talking with you. So I hope you've had a good rest, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.